everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Well, everyone likes a success story, especially around the holidays when people are not necessarily following their eating plan 100% and maybe having symptoms of some of their previous lifestyle diseases, putting on weight. Well, we have a wonderful story for you today. Both these guests have been on the show before. But what's interesting is I did not know them at the time. You know, most of the guests on Chef AJ Live, I'm meeting for the first time when they come on the show, but they're so inspiring. I actually moved to where they live to be friends with them so we could create our own little blue zone. You may know them from their own YouTube channels or other things that they do, their Facebook groups. But back today, we have Esther Loveridge and Al Schmidt, who in their 70s and 80s reversed their heart disease as well as other diseases, lost over 150 pounds combined. Please welcome them back to the show. How are you, dynamic duo?
Returns, yes, we are wonderful. And what amazes me that you not only moved near us and you got to know us, but you actually invited us back on your show. That's the amazing part.
And to my house for dinner.
Yes.
It's so wonderful.
I just don't know. Usually I drive. Oops, there we go. She forgot to turn her phone off.
Yeah,
That's okay.
that was my daughter-in-law who wanted to meet you while she was here.
It's so great having dinner with you guys because we don't have to ask what's in here. Can we eat this? You know?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I know, it's really nice.
Yeah.
And what's really fun too is when you finally have somebody in your family who's also gone vegan, like my daughter and my son and daughter-in-law just left this morning after spending a week with us. And it was still kind of nerve-wracking deciding what to serve them, but I had nothing non-compliant in the house and they were very happy.
Yeah.
And even their dog got Linda Middlesworth dog food this week.
Yeah.
And they're converting their dog over to being a V dog.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Well, guys, not everybody may have seen the first two episodes that we did together. So do you want to tell your stories, ladies first?
Okay. Well, my story started 6.5 years ago. I was in Ireland on a trip and my knees were hurting so bad. By the time I finished that trip, I thought I can't even make it to the gate at the airport. But anyway, long story short, we had another trip planned to China in the fall. And I thought, how in the world am I going to do? Now, mind you, I was morbidly obese. I weighed 257 pounds and I had lots of diseases, but I didn't think I was sick and I didn't think there was anything wrong. My knees. So I went to the doctor and he said, well, I can either give you cortisone shots or you can continue taking pain medication, or he said I could refer you to orthopedics for a possible knee replacement. And then he dropped the bomb, but you have to lose 70 pounds first. Well, I couldn't imagine how that could happen. Had gotten down to 220 before, but 70 pounds would take me under 200, which had been my goal. Anyway, right at that time, I do believe in divine order. And my really good friend, Nora, she gave me Dr. McDougall's book, the McDougall Program for Maximum Weight Loss. And I decided I would just jump in 100% and give it a test. I would be my own laboratory. So I just jumped in and followed that program, and the results started happening so quickly. And we made it to China in the fall and have continued on this journey ever since. And I couldn't be happier. My whole life has changed at the age of 72. So it's never too late. It's always possible. And it's a challenging program to follow, but I knew if I wanted to do the test like an experiment and have my body be my own lab, that I would have to follow it and do it. And that was the program that worked for me. And that's what I am so happy to share with everyone. It's just so
Tell them your what Facebook.
Oh, well, then after a while, the ladies at the gym started noticing, of my success and wanted to know about it. And one dear lady named Robin said, Esther, you need to start a group on Facebook. And I said, no, I just need to tell people to watch Chef AJ, listen to Dr. McDougall, listen to Doug Lyle, and they'll learn the way to go. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. And she said, no, you need to start a group. So I went home and I thought about it. And I thought, well, okay. So I did. And we started out with maybe 6 people. And now there's 15,300. So it keeps growing, and I'm just there to support people and to, just be one more voice in the choir about how you can create the life you want. You make the decisions, you've got the brain, you've got the mind, and you get to create your own world. So I just take pictures of everything I eat and post it every day. I do a video every day and show how to use the Instant Pot, which has been a wonderful, wonderful tool to use. And that's what I'm all about, just sharing the word.
Every day you post a video to I didn't realize I should join your group for inspiration. I had no idea. And 16,000 people, it's incredible.
Yeah, only 15.3.
Don't
Oh, 15.3. Well, okay. But
Yeah.
still, I mean, how do you have time for that?
Well, I start about 3 or 4 in the morning. Oh, and I also write a new word every day, like in my book. And so then I post that book in Esther's Nutritional Journey. And then I go back and I post what I wrote in 2021, 20, and 19, because we have new people and maybe they didn't read those words that were important before. And that way they can just, and so they don't even have to buy my book. Just join Esther's Nutritional Journey and read it there.
Well, do you have your book, or maybe I can get Charles to grab it for me from the closet? I'd love to show your book.
She forgot to bring it, didn't
I
she?
didn't think.
And I bet you forgot to bring your story in Women's Day magazine too, which I could have grabbed, but now I'm on the show. So
yes, I did it.
How did they find you in Women's Day? That's pretty amazing.
I was in one of the McDougall groups on Facebook, and there was a woman from the East Coast. Let's see if I can remember her name. And she put a post on one of the McDougall like friends group, and she said, "Is there anybody who's over 70 years old that's lost over 100 pounds and on a plant-based diet?" And so I responded to her, and so she connected me with Women's World Magazine, and then later Women's World Magazine asked me if I knew anyone else who had done that. So I referred Margie Burton to them, and she got to be on the cover also. So I've been in 3 times now to Women's World Magazine. And then what's exciting is, Ben, my husband, who started following this eating program, he lost all of his weight and his diseases. And we both got to have our stories in Dr. Scott Stoll, who you've had on your program. He and Dan Purges wrote a book in December called Disease Reversal Hope. And our stories in that book too. So it's just fun to be an example of what a new life we can have through eating plant-based food. It's just
Our
wonderful.
future is in our own hands.
That's right. We are creating our world with every bite we take.
Well, you talk a lot about that in your book, from the cute title, From Potatoes to Donuts.
No, the other way, Sherry. The other
From
way.
donuts to potatoes.
Oh, okay, that's right. I said it backwards. I'm dyslexic. From donuts to potatoes is what most people are doing, which is causing them to be so overweight.
Yes.
That's funny. Well, did you ever think that you'd have this kind of success in your 7th decade? Because what I think is amazing, Esther, not just that you lost over 100 pounds, but that you kept it off.
Oh, yes. That is
7 years.
That is, it was 6 years in July.
Wow.
So it took me 3 years. I lost 85 the first year, and then 25 the next year, and 25 the third year. And I've kept it all off for the last 3.5 years. So it does attest to the advocacy of that program. It really works.
Had you always struggled with your weight, and did you ever take weight off before?
Oh, yes. I could get down to 220. I've been at 282 at a couple of times, and I could get down to 220. And I've been on the Atkins diet, and that nearly killed me with pancreatitis and gallbladder. And no one ever said to me, "Esther, it's the fat you're eating that's causing all of these diseases." I've been to Tops, Take Off Pounds Sensibly. I've been to Overeaters Anonymous. I've been to Weight Watchers. I've been to a 600-calorie day program. I went to the diet center in Sacramento for a while, and I would lose it, but then I didn't have the skill set that I learned through you and Doug Lyle and Dr. McDougall of how to stay on the program. And like Doug Lyle says, we might never be able to add back into our diet the food that we gave up to get our success. And so Dr. McDougall says you don't start adding back foods that are whole food plant-based, but not as austere as his program, which is no olives, avocado, seeds, nuts, and soy products, because those are healthy foods but high in fat. So his program is more restricted, but it's the answer for me, because by going to that program, I was able to get the weight off quickly and get rid of all my medications, except now I'm on 25 units of levothyroxine because my numbers did start. But I was off of that for a couple of years too.
And
So-
improves your eyesight.
Oh yeah, my eyesight, forgot about that. I don't have to wear glasses anymore.
That's incredible.
I mean, it's just, and I was being watched for macular pucker. And after I told the doctor at first, I said, well, he said I was now ready for surgery. And I said, well, 3 months ago, I started eating a plant-based diet. And where I got this idea, Chef AJ, I don't know. But I thought, if it helps all of your body, all of your organs, all the diseases, why wouldn't it help my eyes too? And so he said, no, I didn't have to have surgery then. Come back in 6 months. So in 6 months, I came back and he said, your eyesight's improved. 6 months later, I came back and said, your eyesight's improved. And then finally, I said, well, do you think I should wear my glasses to protect my eyes? And finally, after a couple of years, he said, with your eyesight, you don't need to wear glasses. So I went down to DMV when my registration came up again, my license, and they took it off of my license. It had been
Wow.
on there for 30 years.
Yeah.
So it just is, it's just unbelievable what the body wants to do. It wants to be well if we can just get out of the
The
way.
body has an incredible ability to heal itself
Yes,
if you'll just let it.
yes, yes. So
Wow.
it's just, yeah, no, in answer to your question, I never dreamed I would be in a position to influence anybody else or help to encourage them. And it's given my whole life a new purpose, and I love it. I love everything about my life, and I'm glad you moved up north.
Yes.
Wow. Are you still in touch with the lady that originally gave you Dr. McDougall's book?
Oh, yes, every day. Oh, yes, yes. She's my little angel, because she was doing some research to find out how not to get diabetes. And she had come across Neil Bernard's book. And then she loved me and was thinking about me. And she remembered hearing about Dr. McDougall years ago. And she told another friend, oh, it's not for us. And then while she was doing that research, looking for help on her diabetes or pre-diabetes, she came across this book and she gave me the book. I didn't have to pay for it. And then she started giving me some of the DVDs, and then I got connected with you, and it's just been, I was going to say a roller coaster, but not a roller coaster. It's been like climb up Sunshine Mountain, just it keeps getting better every day, every day.
I've heard of a lot of things reversing, but I have not heard of not being able to wear glasses before.
Yes, I think you had someone on your show not too long ago where she was doing exercises and things like that with the eyes. I don't remember her name.
Yep.
And that was kind of interesting, but I didn't have to do anything. And then I got to tell my ophthalmologist at Kaiser about it, and he listened to my whole story. And I think he started doing more plant-based. And he said to me, keep eating your greens. And it was kind of funny because my older son came over this week to see my younger son who was visiting. And I was mentioning something about my eyes as they all were putting their glasses on. And I said something about carrots, and he said, no, he said, carrots don't help your eyesight. And then I wished I would have said to him, well, then to what do you contribute my eyesight improvement? And I have, not only do I still have cataracts, but I have a macular pucker, and I also have this thing called pseudo exfoliation in my eyes. But who cares what you call it if I
Yeah.
can see?
You can see that.
Yeah.
That counts.
So it's just, so I just keep on going.
Well, you're incredible. So Al, what about
Yes.
you? You're a little bit older. You're going to be 88 in like 2
88
weeks.
in 20 days. Well, I don't do Facebook. I barely do this, but I have a really good website, Staying Alive, Whole Food Plant-Based, or the initials. And I've had coronary artery disease my whole life. My father passed away at 59, and he was a carnivore extraordinary. It wasn't a meal unless you had meat at it.
Sure.
Everything, and it had to be the marble. We came from Chicago, and it had to be the marbled meat,
Oh,
not just
yeah.
any kind of meat. So when I was in 1984, I was probably in my 40s, 49 or 50. I had 5 vessel bypass surgery, and that was traumatic to say the least. It was like they put me in a gunny sack. All my ex-wives came and beat the daylights out of me, and then they threw me down the stairs. I hurt for the longest time. Now, of course, medical science has a way that they can come up through your elbow or your groin, and they can do all that jiggling in there. And then you're free to go back and continue your bad ways. That was so traumatic to me. I thought, I never want to go through that again. So I searched around. I didn't know about McDougall. He was around then, but I didn't know about him. So I just figured, what little bit of knowledge I have, that fat was bad for you. So I decided to limit my fat intake. So the average person then and now, probably it's worse, eats about 35 to 45% per day of fat in their diet, percent of calories. That's a lot. And I thought, well, I can do better than that. So I said, I'm going to limit it to 20 or 25%. And I did that until more problems happened. But it also kept my weight down. I never had a weight problem. I was 5'11", and probably I was weighing 175, 170, and I'd bounce around. I'd watch the scale and I'd go, but I never, I also did portion control, never had seconds, and watching my fat intake. Basically, that's all I did. So that went along fine, but then I started to have problems. And I had another heart attack. I had 2 more stents put in. I've had tons of stents put in. So when I was 80 years old, you were a young thing at 72. When I was 80 years old, I was having terrible chest pains. I couldn't walk. I had to put stair lifts in my house. I have a 2-story house, and it was cheaper to put stair lifts in than it was to sell a house and buy a new one. And I was on the way out. So I went to a meeting at Kaiser. I had just had a stent put in. I couldn't fly back to a wedding I was supposed to go to in Wisconsin. In fact, I was housebound. They had a wedding in LA that I couldn't drive to because I was terrified to go out of the house. I felt like I always had to be near an emergency room. I didn't know where they were on the way down there. And it's a horrible feeling. You're just waiting for the big one to drop on you. And so I went to this meeting, and this is politically incorrect, but I do that. So the first half of the meeting was exercise. We want you to exercise to get your heart rate up. I said, get it up. I just want it to continue to go. That's my goal in life. And they said, oh no, you got it. Well, I couldn't exercise. Dottie had to drive me to the meeting, and then I walked like a little old man, little tiny baby steps. And I was only 80, So I get there and I sit down, and the first half is exercise. They tell me to do it. I know I can't do it. I get super depressed. I looked up to see the curve. I was so depressed. So the second half was on eating. And I thought, well, on diet, okay, I changed my diet 20 some years ago. At least that's something I can do. I have control over that. So he comes out and says, we're going to talk. This lady waddles out. We're going to talk about whole food, plant-based diet. And she was huge. And I'm thinking, oh my God, bury me now. But she said, well, I'm not on the diet. And I thought, okay, now I'll listen. And she took all these pictures out. And one of the pictures was an angiogram, which, if you know what that is, they look into your heart. And I've seen a lot of those. And it was a before and after picture, only 30 months, not even 3 years. And at this point, my life expectancy was in months, not years. So I'm thinking 30 months, I don't know if I can live that long, but you know what? I can change my diet now. So I did. I made the decision. I wanted to live. That was a real easy, you want to live or you want to die? I think I'll choose living. Thank you very much. So I did. And in 2 months, I went on the diet. It was hard. It took me probably a week or two to get that. I'd go in and order, I used to eat chicken burritos. I loved Mexican food. So I get a chicken burrito again. I told my buddies that, while I was on, they said, well, I said, I can't have chicken this week. I'm going to have a vegetable burrito. That's because I'm on this whole food plant-based diet. So the guy looks at it and he says, they saute, no oil also. Yeah, Dr. Esselstyn's book saved my life. It's how to prevent and reverse heart disease, the key word being reverse. And he says, no oil at all and keep your fat intake under 10%. Well, my goal had been 20, 25, so 10. That was hard, but I knew where I was going. So the guy, and I told my buddies this, and my guy said, well, that thing is, those vegetables are fried in oil. I'm going, So I send it back and I get one with no oil. Oh, okay, we'll give it to you no oil. And then he tells me after I'm taking 2 bites, he says, well, all the lard's in the burrito. I'm going, oh, anyway, Dr. Greger wrote a book, How Not to Die. And the reason that he got into medicine is because his grandmother, who was a young thing at 65, she, after 3 weeks on the whole food plant-based diet, she went to Perdiccans Institute and she managed in 3 weeks to walk 10 miles. So it took me 4 weeks because I'm a little slow. And in 4 weeks, I could climb stairs. I went to Tahoe at 6,000 feet and I could walk a mile. Before that, I couldn't walk to the mailbox. So it was an incredible result for me. My results were, I didn't try to lose weight, but I started off this diet a little heavy. I was 180 and in 2 months, I got it down to 150. My cholesterol went from 250 to 150. And Dr. Esselstyn says that if it's under 150, you don't have to worry about getting a heart attack. So that was great. Now, here's the big one. Not only did my cholesterol went down, my kidney function was at 40%.
Oops, froze. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. You froze for a minute. So just said your cholesterol was?
Oh, my cholesterol was 250 and that came down to 150. But my kidneys were functioning at 40%. And I had gone to Kaiser and they said, don't eat salt, don't do this, don't take that. So I had really watched that. But they said, your kidneys will never get better. That's conventional wisdom. So after 2, and I wasn't worried about them. I was worried about my heart.
Sure.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about my weight. I was worried about my heart. So after 2 weeks, I go in, my wife and my best friend said, God, Al, you look terrible. You look like you're so skinny. Americans have fat eyes. We see fat in people, say, oh, that's lovely. So they sent me to the doctor. He says, well, I'm going to give you a blood test. Come back next week. After I got the results, I come back next week. And he said, well, your cholesterol's down. Oh, good. This is down. Oh, good. And your kidneys are back to normal. I said, what do you mean? Wait. They're normal? He said, yeah. And I said, well, that can't be right. You told me that, when you sent me to the class that they don't ever get better. He didn't know. So they took it again. And sure enough, my kidneys are at normal. And that was amazing to a lot of people, including a friend of mine that has a PhD in nursing, Maureen. And if you go to my website or go to my YouTube channel, I have she had got her PhD and she presented a short 14-minute video on kidney recovery, and if people would eat healthy, how it wouldn't hurt their kidneys and how much money she was. So I'm on heart disease, you're on weight, and she's on the kidneys. We got to try out. 3 of us are going.
She's great.
So anyway, There is all sorts of other things that have improved in my life. And I have to, the reason that I'm so fond of Esther is that she and I started this lifestyle the same month in 2015. I crashed 16, thank you. And so she had a 1-year celebration, which I crashed. And
along with Tammy and Tom.
Is that how you guys, I was curious how you guys met and became besties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we were having a little gathering at Whole Foods for lunch, and I just had invited some people that were in my group because they wanted, this was before 2020, people wanted to be together. And so that we met there, and then Tammy and Tom came and crashed the party. And then they
invited me. I thought you had invited them. I really didn't know.
Yeah. And Al came, and we just met briefly, but really
very briefly.
Briefly.
I asked her about 2 or 3 questions, and I knew there was a kindred spirit. This was a little sister annoying little sister that I never knew I had. And so we just hit it off ever since then.
Yeah.
That is funny. Hey, Alan, I'm curious, you did lose weight when you went on this diet. Were you ever, did you struggle with your weight? Were you particularly overweight most of your life?
As I mentioned, if you watch the fat you eat, as Dr. McDougall said, is the fat you wear. So if you watch what you eat, you don't have to watch the scales. And I mean, Esther knows this as well as, or better than I do, probably. No, I never did. Although I had terrible sweet tooth and I loved desserts, but I would not eat any fattening food. I ate, which I don't eat now, things like avocados and all, but they were relatively healthy. And I had let my weight get up to about 180. And I've always, when I was young in my 20s, I got over 200 pounds. And I was in the service and I was working for a captain, and he just gave me he called me blubber, and he shamed the devil out of me. And so I thought, well, I'll show him. So just using portion control, because I didn't know anything else. And I was in my 25, 26, and I just lost it all. I came back down to 170, 75. And he said, well, I guess I can't call you a blubber anymore. I said, no, sir. So no, weight has never been that much of an issue for me. I love to eat, but just.
But you did definitely lose weight when you adopted.
I lost 40 pounds in 2 months, and I weighed the scale this morning. I got on the scale and I weighed 135. So I've not only kept the weight off, I've lost another 15 pounds over another 5.5, 6 years. So yeah, this diet is, and you have so much energy. I have to tell you this, and it's God's honest truth. The 5 years after I was on this diet, I've been having some issues lately because I'm old, because I'm 88. But the best 5 years of my life, the last 5 years have been better than any 5 years in the last 25 years. They're better than anything in the 70s and the 60s, without a doubt. Because you just feel good. You have all this tremendous energy, and I've yet to meet someone on this lifestyle. And we know, you and I know, and AJ know a lot of people that doesn't have more energy than they used to have. If for no other reason, if you're in your middle age and you're just trying to get on this lifestyle, it will give you tons of energy. Yeah. So.
Well, and then when you have the freedom from food addiction, I mean, that is amazing how it lifts your spirits. And, because being a lifetime dieter, I would feel so excited to try a new diet, the next thing. But then, as we all know, you lose the weight and then you gain that back, and then even more.
And I know you're the same way. You don't miss the things that you think you used to.
No.
Most of the things that I'm speaking personally now, most of the things that I desired, that I was quote unquote addicted to, were not satiated.
Mhm.
You know, they didn't fulfill you.
Yeah, but I mean, mentally, there's such a relief to finally find the answer that's lasts a lifetime. Because for me, I would lose it and I would feel good, and then I'd gain it back, and then I'd feel so much self-condemnation. And I think that's kind of why today I wanted to talk a little bit about compassion, because we sometimes are our own worst enemy, and we're so hard on ourselves. We
Yes.
think we should be able to do it. And it's really impossible to do it until you have the right tools, because you just don't know what works and everything.
Well, you said they're too hard on themselves.
Yes.
You and I meet a lot of people that are just starting in the journey, and they want to do it, and they have the desire, and they say, yeah, but I can't give up this. And I say, well, give up what you can.
Yeah.
And like you say, don't beat yourself down.
Right.
Nobody is perfect.
Yeah. I think even Dean Ornish and his wife, they say, what are you willing to do?
Well, to start off with, and the thing about this lifestyle is it's so self-rewarding.
Yes.
Once you get into it, you feel, oh, I feel so good. Why would I want to eat that yak fat smothered in lard? I mean, you just
Well, and then Chef AJ, she's condensed it down into her calorie density chart.
yes,
And that is a wonderful tool to have, because it shows you the low calorie dense food, which would be your lettuce and your
Yes.
starchy vegetables. And as you move up the line to include fruit and grains and potatoes, which we love, then if you cross that line, and you get into other foods, they can be considered whole foods, but they're high in calories.
they are. Yes, like
And
avocados,
Yeah, and nuts and seeds and
nuts and seeds.
bread and pasta and
Yeah.
all of
And
that.
they're tasty,
Yeah,
but they're not. Yeah.
yeah. And then, and like Doug Lyle says, that we're naturally drawn to the most calorie dense food
Yes.
in our environment.
All animals.
So as Chef
Yes.
AJ says, if it's in your house, it's in your mouth.
Yeah.
And so if maybe you live with somebody that is not following this lifestyle, and all I can say is glory be, I honor you for doing it. But when the food's in the house, it's just nearly impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have to use willpower then. But if none of those high calorie dense foods are in your house, you can eat whatever you want, as often as you want, as much as you want, and never will gain the weight back, because you just burn up the calories that's in that lower, and you can eat to satiety,
Yeah.
which is wonderful. So
Yeah,
like
it is.
some days I might
And
eat 8 potatoes.
And you feel satiated. And
Right.
there's two things that I want to say that I think are essential. The first is, with people like you and I and AJ and many, many hundreds more, there's a lot of help out there. I know when I started, I had no direction and no support. And the second thing is support. We have a local guru here, and he says, if you look at your 5 closest friends, you all have the same values, you all have the same interests, you have the same desires, you have the same almost everything. And those people you support and influence each other. So I had to get rid of all my carnivore friends. And you and I have started a whole bunch of groups here in Sacramento, and surround yourself with whole food, plant-based people, because they will support you.
Mhm.
They understand what you're going through because they went through it. And they also understand how rewarding it is. But you
Yes.
don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear how hard. You don't want. I mean, I hate to. I like to be realistic, because it isn't easy, but it's so rewarding that
Yes.
once like you and I, after 6.5 years, it's second nature to us.
Mhm.
You don't have any desires to eat anything.
No.
Oh, don't you miss sirloin? Not a bit.
Oh, no animal, no dairy.
Yeah.
If I'm tempted at all, it might be some vegan sweets, or
Yeah.
desserts.
No, yeah.
But even those, I've noticed when I do partake, they don't give me the dopamine hit that the
No, I
hormone
used to.
rich
Yeah.
things, and so it's not like going off the wagon.
Yeah,
You know,
I will cheat once in a while and take just a little tiny piece of avocado,
Oh,
which I love, but I really don't eat that's it. I have to restrict myself.
Right,
I
because
do
of your
like,
heart.
yeah,
Yeah, and I do eat more than you do on
Yes,
that, but
you do.
you know, but it's the rewards are so great. And I guess what I really want to emphasize too is it's so easy in any group of people to look for the things that separate us. And I think what's really important
Yes.
is that we all come together knowing that we have different personalities, we have different strengths and weaknesses, but we need to go to the core of what unites us all and gives us unity. Because, you know, you might follow one doctor and he says, do this, and the other one does this. And I say, pick a hero and follow that.
yeah, that's
Because
really,
it's really easy to play one authority figure against another to find excuses for what you really want to do. And abstinence is the key for me. I mean, I just see myself like alcoholic. I could never say, well, I'll stay on this program Monday through Friday, but I deserve to have a drink on the weekends.
yeah,
And some people do this program and include that, and I embrace them and love them too. We're not going to all be cookie cutters of each other. You know, we have our differences, but I think in terms of the movement, I think we need to really be loving. In fact, I wore my Be Kind shirt today because, you know, there can even be jealousies in a group, there can be competition, and we don't need that. We just need to love each other and know that we're all on this journey. We're all here for a
Support.
reason, and to not try to mold somebody else into our
Yeah.
journey. You know,
or do it our way.
yeah.
I'm curious. First of all, everybody's saying how amazing you look, Al. They can't believe you're 88. Do either of you wish you had had this information sooner? Are you angry that you didn't? And do you think if you had it, you would have followed it earlier in your lives?
I think that's not productive to do things like that. I mean, I wish I had all the money I have now when I was 20. I wish I had all the wisdom I have now when I was 20. I mean, that doesn't do you any good. What are you going to do from now on? If this is available to you, are you going to take the chance? I mean, to me, that's a useless my mental masturbation, I call it. It's a mind game that I don't need that. So I don't want to answer that. You can take it if you
Well,
want.
I've learned from Wayne Dyer that we can't woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah,
We can't should on ourselves. You know, and that we don't have it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't do any good. You are where you are now. And I think the wisdom and the understanding that we gain where we are now was the right timing. I think there's a time for everything. And I'm just really thankful that I learned it now when I really needed it. And no, I do believe in perfect timing.
yeah. James Cavell in the novel Shogun said, never worry about something you have no control over.
That's right.
And so I have no control over the past. So why would I worry about
Yeah.
it?
It's
Well,
like,
let me rephrase the question. I don't
Okay.
mean like, were you upset? But do you think that you would have possibly followed it? Because some people, like, you know, when I think about my past, I think I was so addicted that I had this, let me put it this way. I had this information. I knew of Dr. McDougall, but I was so addicted and so stuck in the pleasure trap that I chose not to. So could you answer that question? You understand what I'm saying? Were you?
yeah.
No, I don't understand.
See, what worked for me was, you know, it wasn't the fact that I was 282 pounds. It didn't matter to me that I had diverticulitis, I had sleep apnea, I had highs and lows, I had diverticulitis, I had all of these illnesses. That didn't bother me. What got my attention was if this was going to stop me from traveling.
Yeah,
That was what got me, not my health and not my weight, because Ben was fat too, and we looked pretty good together, you know, if we stood up straight.
yeah, no,
But
you're
you know,
a handsome
but
if
if-
large couple.
yes, but if this problem with my knees was going to cause me not to continue to travel, that's what got my attention. And I think for you, it was a heart attack. For somebody else, it might be diabetes and threatening to go to dialysis or something. We all have that critical point, like Doug Lisle says, you know, everything is a cost benefit analysis. And if I could have continued eating all my ice cream sundaes and my See's candy and all that, and still traveled, I'd probably still be doing that.
As Dr. Goldhammer says, it's about the quality of your life. I don't want to just exist. I don't want to be here and not be able, like you thought, to be able to. I wanted to be here. I wanted to stay
Yeah.
here. But now at 88, I don't want to be a cripple. I don't want to be somebody that just sits in a chair and watches TV all day.
Yeah.
I want to be able to hike like I did last year at 11,000 feet. I want to be able to do things. I want to be able to use the energy that I have.
Yeah.
And so
And we both want to pay it forward.
we do. We want
Yeah.
to pay it. God has not had decided not to take me 7 years ago, and so He wants me here to continue to annoy people,
Yeah.
send out my message. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
great.
I do.
Yeah. And by the way, I did not have to have my knee replaced, so that was
Yes.
good.
So another one.
And I have younger
Yes.
people in my family getting their hips replaced, getting their knees
And
replaced.
you have an excellent quality of life.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, when I was 80, at your age, I didn't have the energy and the ability to do the things that you do. But
Yeah.
I don't dwell on that. I dwell on where I am now.
Yeah. You go
Live
forward.
in the
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, if this day was your last day, what would you want to do?
What I'm doing now.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right. Continue on.
Yeah.
You both mentioned about not having temptation, about abstinence. Do you either of you have anything in your house that would be triggering for you?
Oh, hell yes.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Dottie, bless her heart, she did not get on board of this right away. And she still isn't on board to the extent that I am, because
But we can't judge, remember?
I know. You keep telling me that. But yeah, but she has all of her friends and both of our family who are not on this. So I can take you to the right here to the pantry, and everything in there is just off limits to me. I wouldn't touch anything in there.
Yeah.
And you go into the refrigerator, and she has, well, we go to Costco, and she buys a big bag of chicken for the dog.
Oh,
Because the dog likes chicken, and we love our dogs. So, dogs are not whole food plant-based. Dogs are carnivores.
Well,
I know. I get that with Linda in this.
my
But,
grand dog just visited this week and has switched over to B-Dog.
well, they're true omnivores, but their teeth, their digestive system is not the same as ours. So anyway, I don't want to you and I disagree about
Right.
that. But anyway,
Yeah, in my house, see, Ben uses tortillas and I don't. He uses pasta and I don't. He uses, what else does he have? More avocado than I normally
yeah,
eat.
Dottie does too.
But he has nothing, we have nothing in the house that's not whole food plant-based. Some might be more processed than
We're
others.
getting pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, we have no animal and no dairy and no oil in the house, so that takes out,
Right.
and so, yeah, he'll use, he doesn't use sugar anymore and then doesn't. really use salt.
You are even, I'm extreme in one way, you're an extreme in another way, in that I shouldn't tell what you think, but I've noticed when you eat, your food isn't as savory as Ben's is.
No, and he thinks his tastes better, but I think mine tastes better because I'm adapted to it.
Exactly.
And if like, for instance, he likes to use better than bouillon.
Yes,
a
I don't want to
vegetable
use
broth.
that.
But it has a lot of sodium in it. And
Yes.
so when I eat something that he's made with that, then I go, ooh, I want more.
I know,
So-
sodium is like that.
Yeah. So it's
And
really
so are
fun.
sweets. I've learned a lot from Esther. Sweets are like that, even natural sweets,
Mhm.
because I don't use sugar.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's some things, but we used to have peanut butter, that's gone.
No, I've never.
And and he likes these soy curls now, and I don't want it. To me, it's just too processed. See, when I take a picture of my food that I eat, I want people to see the extreme. And it's just like in any scientific experiment, there's a bell curve, right? There's people
Yes.
over here, and then there's all the people in the middle, and then I'm kind of an extremist. But I love it because this is my body, and I really want to put the best in it. So like I even gave up alcohol and coffee, and some don't.
I did too.
But I just didn't need that. And I want whole food as grown as much as possible. And like Chef AJ's book, unprocessed,
Mhm.
so I don't even like to use ketchup, And so when people say, oh, what did you season that with? And I said, well, these vegetables are wonderful.
Yeah.
Just as they're grown, I don't want to hurt their
You
feelings.
really get to appreciate the taste
Yes.
after you've been on this lifestyle long enough. Your taste become more delicate, and you can taste the complexity of different dishes.
Mhm.
If you 2 or 3 flavors instead of just salt, sugar, and oil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true too. So it's a simple life that I lead, but I love it.
Wow, that's amazing. Al, somebody's asking about your bypass surgery and if they used veins or arteries. Do you know?
Yes, they hardly ever use arteries. I almost always use veins. I had 5 vessels and they've all clogged up. Most people have 3 arteries that nourish their heart, and I only have 1. But what happens is the body has an incredible ability to heal itself if you will just let it. So my body has corollary, I think that's the word, arteries that have grown around where the blockages were. And I mean, I can't run a mile and anything like that, or very fast, but I can climb stairs. And as I said, I hiked 5 miles at 11,000 feet last year. I'm not sure I can do it this year or next year, but we're working on it. I have other problems that come up. As you get older, your body wears out. Nothing lasts forever.
Mhm.
The thing is, as Dr. Goldhammer says, we want to live as well as we can, as long as we can.
Right.
And I don't want it the last 10 years of my life in a hospital bed with tubes sticking in me and not doing anything. That's
Yeah.
not my idea of life.
And to me, it's the most unselfish thing we can do for our children. It's not to create
Amen.
be
Yes.
independent, So if they come see me, I like it because they come because they want to be with me, not because I'm sick and they feel like I'm going to die and they better come and pay homage.
In my family, unfortunately, we've had a couple people pass away with Alzheimer's, and that I have seen the wreckage on the family from those people. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord, I've got most of my facilities left.
Yes.
People question it, but that's all right.
That's all right. Keeps you humble.
No, I'm never home. Uh-oh, we lost your voice.
I actually unmuted myself for a minute. When I was asking you, like, if you had this information, if you would have done it sooner. See, one of the things Dr. McDougall has worked hard on is not, of course, not that you should be angry, but the fact that he wants it to be a law that at least doctors tell their patients. So before your bypass surgery, if you could have been given a choice, because I remember there was a lady that I knew named Judy that did a video about that she was actually angry because she just didn't know it wasn't like she was turning it down. People have the right to have surgery, pills, whatever they want, but that people wish they would have known is all.
That is just an excellent point.
Choices.
Okay.
To know there is a choice.
No, but here's the thing: the medical profession, they treat you like mushrooms. They keep you in the dark and they cover you with fertilizer. I'm at a stage now where they're promoting things to me, and we have a good friend that I met, Corinne. He's a cardiologist, and I said, Corinne, I don't know what to do, and he said, that's what I'm here for. And I said, he said, call me anytime. And that is such a blessing, because you talk to one doctor, cardiologist, he'll say this, another one will say that, another one will say this. To be honest with you, I have a leaky valve. And I know people that have had a valve replacement, and it was a big deal before. Now they just, again, go through your vein in your arm or your groin. And they do it without invasive surgery. But I thought, when I first thought about it, I thought, well, they only last 10 years. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure I'm going to last 10 years. So maybe that's not such a bad deal. But they'll present you, if you ask them about any bypass surgery or stents or anything, they don't tell you the real choice, which is lifestyle, they'll say, well, here's the probability of death of the operation. Wait, that's a concern, but the major worry is it going to really help me? For instance, they tell on statins, they force statins on everybody because statins reduce the risk of a heart attack. That's true. But you know what? If you go into the data, they don't reduce the probability of death.
Mm.
And in return for that, you get, I took them for a while, you get joint aches and muscle ache, and you can get other side effects. So that's such a good point. You know, the only thing, and we have to get the information on our own.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I know my son's friend was in the hospital with a heart issue, and the doctor said that he needed to go on a plant-based diet. And then this overweight nurse came in, and he said to her, do I really have to give up alcohol? Do I really have to give up meat and stuff like that? She said, oh, don't listen to him. He's a vegan.
yeah.
So the nurse was under.
Well, she was fat, wasn't she?
Yeah.
There you go. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we love to hear good news about our bad habits.
Yeah.
Again, Dr. McDougall.
Yeah. He's just wonderful.
That
Well,
was
I think, yeah, I was just gonna say, I wish when I had my first gallbladder attack that someone would have said, you know, all the fat you're eating on that Atkins diet is contributing, but they didn't know or they didn't have permission, or I don't think they knew. And then when I had that pancreatitis and almost died along with the gallbladder problem, even then they didn't tell anything. So I just kept going back on Dr. Atkins and eating all that
I know.
pork rinds and eating all that fat.
Ignorance is the most dangerous thing in the world. It's also the most expensive, but dangerous is first. Yeah. Yeah, I think in 1984, after I was so traumatized after my bypass surgery, I probably would have done it. But after, I'm one of the people that I need something traumatic to help, that makes me make a good decision.
Yeah, I think it does take a crisis for most people because change is uncomfortable.
Yes.
And socially, making changes that affect you socially are hard too. And you have to, I mean, how do you learn how good you're going to feel ahead of time?
We can't.
And so you have to go through the process to
Yes.
learn. You know, it's like somebody say, I can give you a pill and people, this has helped somebody, but, and you might be more prone to take a pill than to change a lifestyle. But it's hard to have someone take the leap intellectually or mentally or spiritually without having experienced the joy.
It's basically faith, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're stepping out on faith that Dr. McDougall and all these plant-based doctors know what they're talking about, and you have to say, hey, my life is worth it. Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, what's it going to hurt to go 21 days
Yeah.
if you know,
Good point.
and then test it for yourself.
Yeah.
So Deborah wants to know if you can repeat the name of your Facebook group and Al, your YouTube channel so people can follow you.
Oh, sure. My group's called Esther's Nutritional Journey. And there are 2 questions to answer when you ask to join. And I want to know what your goals are and if you've watched any of the documentaries.
See, I didn't have to interrupt you. It's Staying Alive. WFPB.com, and you can find I think I've made a note on there how to get to my YouTube channel, but I have a lot of videos on there. I have a lot of places to go to get recipes, to get all sorts of help and products and everything. If you buy anything that I link to Amazon, every penny that I get from that, in fact, I don't get anything, that goes to McDougall.
Right.
And she gives the process. I hate that you blow your own horn.
No, I just donate all of my royalties from donuts to potatoes to Dr. McDougall's foundation.
We want to help people.
That's right. That's right. And it's just so good to give. I mean, this is the giving season anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just so much more blessed to give than to receive. And when you've received all of this and your life has changed, I mean, you just overflow with thankfulness and to share it with the world.
And also, if you go to my website, there's a link to to my email address, and I have answered every email. One time I was on your show, AJ, and I overloaded my email. Took me a week just to answer them all, but I answered every single one of them. And I've met some really nice people that way. Her name I can't remember. A lady lives, I think, in Minnesota, and she's lost a lot of weight. She went whole food, plant-based. Her husband, she called me because her husband had a stent put in and she was concerned. We chatted for a while. We became good friends. So, and I've met another fella, I think, overseas, and he and I not chat, but we exchange emails. So if you want help, if you think I can help you, I will.
Yeah. And if you go on YouTube and you just type my name in, some of the interviews that we've had
Yes.
will pop up. I think most of the interviews with Chef AJ and different ones that we've been on, they pop up. So it's kind of nice if you want to see that. And
Yeah.
there's one where I do a strip tease. Have you seen that one?
Yes, I have. I have.
It's a safe one.
Yeah.
That's just where I wear something slimming underneath, and then I have on my size 26 dress, and I go da 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 and take it off, and you can
Nice dance.
you can see the dramatic change. But it's so much more than appearance. It's so much more than your body. It's so much more than you know.
For me, not necessarily maybe for you, but for me, it was peace of mind.
Yes, yeah.
I'm not worried about the big one that's going to hit me. I mean, I've had heart attacks since I've been on this diet, but they're always minor, and it's always some minor thing that age is sort of caused. But it's not the one, most people don't survive I think a third of the heart attacks, they don't survive the first one.
Yeah. And it really helps you in terms of just having a stronger immune system and being stronger against things that might come your way. Not for everyone, but it really has been great. But peace of mind is really important.
You and I haven't had COVID, have we?
No.
And poor AJ's had it twice.
No, I did
What?
not. You're correct. No. Hey, guys, there's a question from Kat, whether or not you guys, when you changed your diet, if your numbers went down, specifically your HDL, your LDL, and your triglycerides.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. All my numbers went down, and I just had a blood test recently, and they're all within the right range, and my cholesterol is at 115.
Yeah.
So
it's really great.
Yeah,
I don't have the numbers in my head, but it's all
I don't
good.
either. I just remember that one.
In fact, Ruben Guzman, he does this thing where he tells you your age.
Oh, yes.
And so I don't know if it's my physical age or whatever. He says I'm only 46 years old.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Of course, we'd love to hear that.
Yes, of course. But no, the BMI is, way down there, and it's just really exciting to feel like you found the total package.
Yeah, no, I had a chance. I was in a situation where I was talking to a bunch of nurses, and they were all I said, they saw my, because they always ask the last name, date of birth. And they said, you're 86?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. She said, they would have guessed me for your age, like my 70.
Yeah.
But, they all say you're healthy. No, if I'm not healthy, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that's right. But it's just freedom from that addiction and having that monkey on your back and finding the answer, the final answer,
And I know we shouldn't say that. It sounds something, but to us, it's the answer.
Yeah.
And we want as many people to enjoy good health as we do.
That's right.
I mean, it's a blessing.
And if they don't, we just have to love them.
Well,
anyway.
you let them go.
Yeah, you just have to.
And I try to encourage everybody. I always say, eat healthy.
Yeah.
They're asking, Sherry wants to know, how did you start your own groups?
I just went on Facebook and followed the instructions for starting a group. And I think initially I put a couple of family members in there just to get it started. And then, the word just spread. And there are mechanisms you can use. There's a national thing or a thing on the internet called Meetup or something,
But
Oh,
here's a good example, because I believe in doing it organic. It's more real, and you get better supporters. Is that four of us, you and me and a couple of other people, decided during COVID that we wanted to go out a little bit. So we found a restaurant that would allow us to come for lunch. So we started having lunch together. And we did that for almost a year, 6 months or longer. And then we decided, people heard about it. Well, come on, nothing. And so we get 30 people sometimes, and we get 20 to 30 people every Wednesday. And you don't have to sign up. You don't have to stand up and say, I've been a vegan for this much at 37. Why did nobody interviews you. You just sit down, you talk to the person next to you. Well, that worked for a while. And then people kept asking me, they said, well, I work, I can't come during the day. And I said, oh, all right. So we started doing it on a Saturday night. And we went to this one restaurant. Well, this is something we're just making up as we go along. So somebody pointed out that we're eating the same food every time, which is a legitimate complaint. So I can't remember her name, said, okay, on the first or the third Friday of the month, we're going to meet at this place. Or maybe it's for lunch. I can't remember if it's lunch or dinner.
Right. And so we started out with the vegan plate in Roseville, and then we added, not deleted, added El Papagayo on Saturday night.
Yes.
At 5:30. And then someone came to one of Chef AJ's gatherings at the Zest and said, I need something in the south area of Sacramento because I live in Lodi. And I said, okay, Loving Hut is there. And so we meet there on the first Monday.
And there's
first Friday of each month.
Yeah, and there's a new place over on Northridge. And so Linda is starting to go there once a month.
Okay, and then there's Himalayan.
And then the Himalayan, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So you build it organically, and one person gets an idea, that gives another person the idea, but somebody has to take the first step.
Right.
And I talk to but I communicate with a lot of people that write me and say, well, in fact, this one gal did. She said, I live in Montana. Well, Montana is not very heavily populated. He says, my nearest neighbor is 30 miles. And I said, you have internet, you emailed me, don't you? So start a group on the internet. I know a friend that did. She has 15,000 people. Yeah. So she took me to heart. She says, Al, she writes me back in 6 months. And she says, Al, I did. And I got all these people, and they're in Montana still, but they're a group. I have a nephew named Bruce. Hello, Bruce. I hope you're watching this. And he lives in Milwaukee. And he said, there's nothing here. I said, there is something there.
Yes.
I know you could start something. Well, I was not a joiner when I went through this journey, and he's not a joiner either. So I think it's harder for men.
Probably.
But women, you girls like to get together more than we guys. We want to go outside, go hunting, fish, whatever it is. Two guys spend a day together and never say two words. We had a great time.
Yeah.
Women aren't that way.
Yeah. I think that's also true.
Do people think you guys are married, right?
Yeah, I know. Except our spouses don't.
Yeah, right.
That's all it counts. They know better.
Well, Al's just really been great in my life too, because he's like an older brother, but he's vegan. So I like that part about him. I have two wonderful brothers who are 88 and 90, and I just love them. And it's painful to watch them suffer. And but I've been as much of a food evangelist as I know how to be. And at some point, you just have to know, you have to put people in what I call God's hands and say, bless you, and you're on your own journey. And I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. And I just can do what I do and what has worked for me. And if that's helpful to you, fine. If not, well, dust your feet off and go on.
And Esther is my spiritual mentor. My spiritual guru. She's incredible. I am so blessed to have her in my life. I get depressed or down or something, and all of a sudden the phone will ring and says, how you doing? And she just cheers me up, and I tend to be very positive, but you outdo me. I can say that. So
Well,
she has helped me and helped our marriage so much. I mean, just by reframing a problem, you
Yeah.
can just solve a lot of problems by just reframing it. That is, looking at it in a different way.
yeah.
And you think, oh,
Well,
yeah.
along that line, I'd like to say it's really important. Our words are so important
Yes.
because we do create our world through our words. And I think it's critical, really critical to understand how we finish the sentence, I am. Because someone will write to me and they'll say, oh, I am suffering, or I'm not able to do this, or, whatever. And if you just, like you said, reframe that, turn around and said, I am getting better day by day. I am getting stronger day by day. I am paying more attention. I'm being more mindful of what I eat. I'm being more thankful for what is in my life. And to the extent that you can, it doesn't deny that there aren't challenges in our lives, but, we get to what we think about, we bring about.
Yes,
And so if we think it's going to be hard, guess what? We'll create a hard
Yes,
situation.
it will be.
It will be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think as Henry Ford said, that you can be, how is it? Something about you could be right or you could be wrong, or you could think you can, or you can think you can't, and you'd be right.
yes, both cases you'll be
Yeah.
right. No, that's one, I had never heard that. Yes, that's true.
So take advantage of all those people out there that are encouraging you and
And
whatever your
think you
pathway
can
is.
do it. Yeah, I met a lady on a cruise that was dying. And I said, I don't know if this will help you or not, but it helped me. And she was so inspired. And she says, well, I'll try. And I said, no, you try, you die.
Yeah.
I said, you just have to make the decision to do it. And she now passed away, unfortunately.
Mhm.
So I believe in positive attitude.
Yes.
It's got me to be 88.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not there yet, but I can make it
Yeah.
20 days. I'm confident, unless the truck hits me.
Yeah.
Hey, Esther, there's a great question from Susanna. Did you struggle with body dysmorphia after your tremendous amount of weight loss? And if so, how did you overcome it?
What's dysmorphia? That
It's
hang
like,
from
it's
skin?
no, so a lot of times people that lose weight, it takes them a while to realize they're not heavy anymore.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I think I've kind of listened to Louise Hay, and I can look in the mirror now and say, I love you. And that was a hard one to do. Loving myself just as I am. I don't know. I think what I hear more often is people wanting to know what I did with all the excess skin. And what I like to say is I've never seen a death certificate yet where someone dies of excess skin,
I think I asked you.
Yeah, but if you do it slowly and do it healthfully, the body has an amazing way to absorb all that. And yes, the gravity has taken its toll on my life, but
that's
you know what?
everybody.
There's good bras out there. It's no problem. And so, do I still think I'm fat? No, I'm just thankful. I'm so thankful that I have just found the answer. It's just such a relief.
Yeah, I think we all think of ourselves as just normal. Like everybody calls me skinny. They
Yeah.
think, oh, you're skinny. And I don't think I am.
Yeah, I had people in my family say, I was getting
Yes,
too
family
skinny.
members.
Yeah,
Yes.
say you're getting too skinny. And people do that when you get skinnier than they are.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just say, well, if you didn't have the courage to ask me, Esther, how much fatter do you want to be when I was gaining weight? Then I don't think you have the right to say to me, how skinny are you going to get?
What a good attitude.
Yeah, I mean, if you couldn't be honest and worried about, if you weren't really worried about me then, why are you worried now? It's because now I'm a threat to you.
Well, yeah, and I think it's different between men and women. Men, I just want to feel good.
Yes.
And I don't really care what other people
Yeah.
think of my looks.
But it does feel wonderful to go from a size 26 to a 6.
Yeah.
Dr. Goldhammer always says the person criticizing the person for being too thin is never as thin as them.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
that's for sure.
yes. And especially like when my sister-in-law died 4 years ago, I was the only one in the family that could inherit her clothes.
Oh, there you go.
So that was a blessing for
Yeah.
me. But it's just, I don't know, it's just such a happy life. And you can just turn anything around in your mind and choose.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
called reframing.
Oh, and another thing I'd like to say to people who are on this journey is don't get addicted to the outcome. Don't make your happiness dependent upon
Yeah.
your ability to get to your goal. Choose to be happy today. Choose to be happy, thankful today for what's in your life, and be thankful that you are where you are and in a place to learn and go on.
Thankful.
And just be thankful. We just finished that season, and
yeah. And as you tell me a lot, it's not a competition.
no, we don't. No, that's right. We see, and I think in America, with all the capitalism and all the competition and trying to get ahead and trying to outdo somebody else, it's real normal to get caught in that. But
for men particularly.
if you can back out of that and just be thankful that you know what you know now, and know that you'll learn what you need tomorrow, what you need to know.
Yeah. And there's someone to help you. If you support yourself around whole food, plant-based people, you'll get help.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. You ask somebody and they'll either probably won't know, but they'll know where to point you.
Mhm. And just how to encourage you, and know that
Encourage you.
any life changes is difficult because our patterns are ingrained.
Yeah.
And the thinking that allowed us to get fat and heavy and diseased,
Took 70 to 80 years
And
to
those-
build up.
and it could go back to your childhood. Maybe
Yeah.
somebody told you you were a fat little kid or chubby. And in fact, Ben's nickname used to be Jum for Jumbo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he was the biggest baby in the nursery.
Oh, my.
So, I mean, these things stay in our brains, but we get to weed them out
Yeah.
and know that no matter what pain, if you've been sexually abused or you've been wounded as a child, there's ways that you can change that and really honor who you are, and know that you don't have to be programmed by your early experiences. And for that, I might recommend my newest doctor that I like to watch podcast is Dr. Gabor Mate, and he talks about addictions a lot and about early wounds in our childhood and how we're still trying to numb that pain. And some of us numb it through meth and through heroin or through alcohol or cigarettes or coffee or whatever it is. And for me, it was food, because I didn't do those other things. I was pure, but I certainly had the food addiction.
Do you think that your spouses have food addictions, either of you, or had them?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I no, in a way, I don't think Ben did,
Well,
because,
not to your extent.
well, no, but he didn't like crave things. I mean,
Oh.
if you give him a piece of berry pie, he'll eat it, but he won't eat the whole pie like I would have,
Mm.
and when I used to eat ice cream, I wanted the richer the better. So I'd go for Ben and Jerry's, and I would hope that he didn't want to bite, but and then if it came to finishing the peanuts or finishing the chips, I would want to finish it because that was my way of getting rid of the temptation, is to eat it, yield.
Yeah.
But he didn't have that addiction, but I think he had bad food habits. But I wouldn't say that he was
Yeah.
addicted like I was.
I don't like to speak for other people on addiction. It's hard to say. Like sometimes I get addicted to the kind of mouse I use. So, I mean, to me, addiction is a word that's not.
But is there a negative outcome to that? No, so it doesn't matter. It's not
Well,
an
yeah, I
addiction.
get upset if I can't find it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. That's a world you and I are different on.
Mhm.
I mean, I understand, I appreciate, and I respect the people that have that opinion, but I always say that not applicable to me.
Yeah, and like peanuts, I mean, that used to be really hard, to give up. But
Well,
yeah,
it was only hard for me after I had the first one.
yeah.
See,
But see, yours is different because
Right.
you really had to cut out the oil to an extreme because
Yes.
you didn't want that in your body,
Yes.
But for me, it was like, ooh, you show me cookies. I mean, I have even stolen cookies. In high school, I worked in the soda fountain and I'd put 2 scoops of ice cream and probably paid for that. But then after I ate the first scoop, I put the 3rd scoop on.
And then you just put all the chocolate on it?
No, we didn't
Oh.
have that in the back of the
Oh.
day. But I mean, I just would, it'd be like an orgasm.
I
for me.
was hooked on that, but what I would do is I couldn't not just eat one chocolate chip cookie, but I could pass up the whole group.
Yes.
I never had this desire to get up in the middle of the night and go get something.
Oh, no.
But I couldn't, if I saw it, I ate it.
Yeah, in fact, Chef, you'll appreciate this. I went to See's Candy to get some candy for a friend that she sent me a Christmas ornament from the White House, and I'd sent her candy because she couldn't get it back east. And so when I went in, I ended up with 3 samples, and I came home with that samples, and I had Chef AJ in my head saying, you know, if it's in your house, it's in your mouth. And I thought I was so good and so strong. So I took that bag and I put it in the bathroom underneath the bathroom sink. And I left it there for a whole year, and I'm going, nanner, 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 nanner. It's in my house and it's not in my mouth. But you know what? One day something happened to my brain and reminded me that it was there. And I decided I deserved it. And I went and ate it, even though it was kind of damp and not the best, but I couldn't throw it away because I had put it on such a pedestal.
Well, that's the other thing. We're all taught, if you don't eat this, I'm just going to throw it away. That's what our mothers all said to us.
Yes.
And so I had that trouble. I had to clean my plate. I still do.
Yes, I do too. Because if I take a picture of it and I tell people this is what I ate, then I have to eat it.
Yes, but you really don't.
No, I do.
No,
I do, because I take a picture of everything I eat.
Yeah.
And so if I've got a picture there, I eat it. Sometimes I'll spread it over a little bit of time.
I went to the Himalayan restaurant and I ordered the medium meal, and they gave me the large one by mistake. And I said, I'll take it back. And they said, oh, I'll go ahead. And I said, I didn't want to make a fuss because they were being nice. But and somebody across from me said, well, just eat part of it. And I thought, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
I have to eat it if it's in front of me.
I know, we've always heard that.
So I'm very careful what I put in front of me.
Yeah. But this way of eating, I can eat as much as I want.
I know, isn't that the best? It's like every day's Christmas. I appreciate you telling the story of having that piece of candy, because I actually had a guest on this week that said that by me saying if it's in your house, it's in your mouth, it gives people that are in unclean environments no hope. And
That's true.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. Yes, because it draws you.
Yeah, that isn't true. I've started with all sorts of bad food in the house, and I'm still that, not all sorts, but we have food in the house that like Dottie will eat things that I don't feel are compliant for me, and we'll bring them home and put them in the fridge, and they just stay there.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, but don't you think it depends on the susceptibility of the individual? I mean, because especially early on. And do you think you guys would have been as successful long term if you didn't eventually get both of your spouses on board?
Oh yeah, I think I would have, but
I wouldn't be married if I hadn't got her on.
Yeah, your life is dependent. Yeah,
No, I'm serious.
No, I did about 9 months before Ben came on, and I was committed. And fortunately, he liked to cook, so he just continued making his own food, which is fine. Because at first he said I could never eat like you, and I said okay, but then I was the one that had to decide how to cook my food. And oh yeah, I would have continued because the results were so good.
Yeah.
But by him moving that direction, and no animal, no dairy, it certainly makes it easier. And I do sympathize with people who live in a mixed marriage.
Dottie was is a wonderful cook. Took me about 2 years. She had to have a scare to get her into it, and she now is an excellent cook, and it has certainly improved my diet and our marriage. So I would still be a whole food plant-based. I might be lonely and cranky, and I would still be it, but it's greatly improved my life and our life.
Yeah,
mine with Dottie's. So
but are your spouses happy they came on board?
You have to ask them.
I think I think Ben is. He had sleep apnea. He didn't have too many health issues. He was, he had gotten up to 320 pounds, and now he's 160. And he will often say, oh, I'll never be as happy as you, and that's okay.
But you have two different, I mean, just like Dottie and I, you have two different personalities.
Sure.
Yeah.
And he works out. He goes to the gym as often as he can, rides his bicycle there. And I think he'll look and sometimes thinks he's too skinny now. And he looks in the mirror, but I'll tell you, he looks good. He can tuck those shirts in and, it's just wonderful.
Dottie wouldn't be here, or maybe she'd be deathly ill now. She had stage 4 cancer. And so she got on this diet, and she had liver cancer that metastasized into lung cancer after 3 or 4 years. And now they did tiny bit of radiation, and it's all gone away.
Mhm.
So I think I can speak for. I don't like to tell other people how they feel, but I think I can speak for that.
Yeah. Well, Ben never thought he just never thought he would ever lose the weight.
Well, we never think we're going to be.
Yeah.
You used to think you were healthy when you were
Yeah.
Goodyear blimp.
Yeah.
So,
It's interesting that your impetus wasn't even so much the diseases, but it was because of what you wanted to do in life, which was travel, which you're going on a 3-week trip pretty soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to demonstrate how to eat a whole food plant-based diet while cruising.
Yeah, how are you going to do that? Did you make any arrangements in advance?
Well, we're traveling on Holland America, and they have a vegan, a vegetarian, and a gluten-free menu. And so every night at dinner, you put in your request for the following night from the menu, make your selection, and they deliver it to you the next day.
Yeah.
And for breakfast, it's oatmeal and whatever fruits available. For lunch, it's a salad bar with balsamic vinegar. And then at night, you go to the dining room and get served a wonderful meal. I have dessert every night. And it's usually raspberries or papaya or mango.
Wow.
And I have a sweet potato.
And you get to choose it the day before.
Right.
Yeah, I've traveled on holiday.
Yeah. So
yeah.
The only thing is, you have to have made up your mind that this is what you're going to do. And
Don't order the steak.
oh no,
I know you, but I'm just saying.
No, for me, it would be, seeing all the cookies that are out there and the ice cream, and when stuff's free, I want it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny. You want it because it's free.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. I fall for that too.
Yes, yeah. And so anyway, after that, it's just, you have to, and the other thing is too, on this trip, we get a $500 drink coupon.
And you don't drink.
And I don't drink. And so I said to the tour guide, I said, well, can I change that for internet minutes?
Oh.
And he said, no. And I said, well, how in the world am I going to use up $500 worth of, he says, you can take bottled water when you leave the ship because they charge you for that. So, but there is, if Ben wants to have orange juice, we could have that. Oh, I want to say this. We went to a party about a week ago, and normally I just drink the water, but Ben said, I said, you want a drink? And he said, yeah, have him give me 1/2 orange juice and 1/2 cranberry juice.
Oh, that'd be good.
And that made a nice drink for him.
Yeah.
I prefer not to drink calories, but I ended up having one of those as well. And it was kind of nice to feel a part of the event, and so that worked out good.
Hey, Esther, there's a question from a live viewer. When you ate that C's candy, was it just one piece or was it the whole box?
Well, no, they were samples that I was doing. So there were 3 pieces, and yes, I ate all 3, even though they were damp and not that good. I had put desserts on such a pedestal that I almost made them like holy ground, and I couldn't do that. But we did have a dumping ceremony on our anniversary one year. And even though we weren't drinking at home, we had it there because we just collected it over the years. We actually took all of that and dumped it out. And now I think it's been about 3 years now, and that cupboard is still empty over the refrigerator. So,
did you feel sick when you ate it after not eating that for such a long time?
No, I was disappointed in myself, but no, I didn't feel sick.
You probably were disappointed you didn't get the hit you thought you were going to get.
Maybe so. I didn't want to go out and buy more, that's for sure.
Was that the only snack accident you've had?
No. When we were on one cruise, we ate one of the specialty dining rooms, and they brought out this little tray of chocolates, at the end of it, and it was free, right? And I wasn't going to be taken to my room, and I wouldn't have access to it, so I did eat that chocolate.
Yeah, when we go to dinner at a really nice place and they bring out this fancy whatever it is, I will sometimes take a small taste of it. And it never is enough that makes me wish that I would have had more of it or something.
Yeah.
I just want, what is it that maybe, you should taste this salmon. I used to love salmon.
Yeah.
I went on a cruise and I had salmon 3 times a day.
Oh, yeah.
And because I thought it was healthy, but and I will taste just the smallest amount, just enough to taste. And I think, no, it doesn't light any fire,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
What are your favorite foods now? And also, what do you both eat in a day?
One of my most favorite foods is breakfast. And I did a video on this, I forget with who, but I go to Dr. Greger and his broil, rice and green, all that, 3 different 5 or 6 different grains together, and on top of that I put bananas, raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries, and I love that breakfast. It fulfills me, and I just look for every morning. That just starts off the day. That's my favorite, even though before I went on this journey, never ate breakfast.
Oh.
What's your favorite?
Oh, sweet potatoes.
Oh, yes. Yes, you eat them raw for pizza.
Yeah, I have eaten them raw.
They're mine too, though.
I love sweet potatoes. I love regular potatoes. I love gold potatoes. I mean, I'm just a potato person. And then it's so simple what I do. Like lately, I'd say maybe the last, maybe 3 months, I've been waiting to eat until after 11.
Yeah, in the morning.
And so what I do is I start out with a cup of warm water in the morning, and then I'll have a second cup of warm water, and I'll put in a cube of previously frozen lemon juice or a whole lemon. And when I do the whole lemon in the Vitamix and pour it in ice cube trays and freeze it, and then put a cube in the water, there's enough fiber in that lemon that seems to take away any hunger, and so I don't start eating until about 11. And then I now try not to eat. It's not a hard rule, but I try not to eat after 6 at night, because I want my body to be able to do the healing it needs to do, and not be. And plus, I don't want to be in the kitchen that much, and I don't want to be thinking about food that much. So I really am down to basically like 2 meals a day now.
Yeah.
And it works for me. It's not for everyone, but it's kind of like being able to do another experiment, like I did following Dr. McDougall, and now I'm kind of trying this to see how it fits. So I don't recommend anybody else doing it, but if we can learn to eat when we're hungry and stop when we're satisfied, then and to take time to be mindful of what we're eating, and to chew things thoroughly, and to really appreciate it, and not be just going to the next thing. But aside from sweet, and then I also love, here's what I eat: fruits, vegetables, grains, and beans. That's my diet. I don't eat bread. I mean, rarely.
No, but give them a recipe, or not a recipe, a meal.
Okay, a meal. Well, okay,
Let me do that.
No.
Okay.
No. So for breakfast, I mean, I don't have breakfast. So my first meal will be, it's just leftovers. I have fruit and vegetables, grains and beans already cooked up in the refrigerator. So it's just a matter of pulling out what I feel like reheating. So I'll pull out a previously cooked sweet potato, and if I have some greens beans, I'll add that. Add some broccoli, I'll do that. Add a piece of fruit, and then I try to limit my beans to 1 cup a day on average. And I know how to cook beans and rice together in the Instant Pot. And so that's just so simple. I have my starch, my vegetable, my fruit, and that's it.
You use the Instant Pot a lot.
Oh, yes. I love my Instant Pot. Do my dump soup in there, at the end of the week when you're ready to throw food away, put it in the Instant Pot and make some dump soup. And
Tell us about dump soup, because Tom Kramer has a dump soup recipe, and he's going to do it on the Truth About Weight Loss Summit next year. What is your dump soup?
Well, I start out with a can of diced tomatoes, and then I add a can of water, and then I just empty my refrigerator. So whatever's in there that needs to be cooked, it could be onions, it could be garlic, it could be leftover, it could be celery or carrots or leftover green beans, or it could be cabbage or just whatever in the refrigerator I want to use up. And then at the end, if I have some power greens from Costco that are getting a little bit older, then I just stir those in at the end. So it's just whatever you have. And then I usually use Costco's no salt organic seasoning to it. And that it's so simple. It's just so simple. And just whatever you have. And just, if you cook up the foods that you want to eat, then just pull them out and reheat them. And it's just, I make my meals in 2 minutes. It's just so fast.
A very simple meal that I love. You said sweet potatoes that are heated with me. Dottie, sometimes she'll be tired, didn't want to cook. We bake a sweet potato, corn on the cob, and broccoli. And that's all, nothing else. And that's a really good, I grew up, you had to have 3 things on your plate.
Yeah.
And, but your dump soup's good.
Oh, yeah. And the thing that was so nice with my family visiting this week is that we kind of, because we eat the same thing every day, like Ben eats the same thing every night,
Yeah.
And so having company, we felt like we should vary a little bit more. So it was like, oh, and now what can we do this time, but beans and rice are always good, and homemade vegetable soup's wonderful, and salads are nice. I don't do as many salads as some people do because I would rather have potatoes.
Yeah.
It just fills me up
But
better.
you gotta get your greens.
Yeah, you have to get.
We try to have salad every night. We don't make it, but we almost every day.
But since you can live on potatoes alone and
You can.
survive, that kind of takes away the idea that you have to have a big variety of food. You don't.
Right. But Dr. B says that there are more different, 30 different kinds of food a week.
I know, but
I
Dr. Duba doesn't say that. He says,
Okay.
eat your potatoes.
All right. Then you gotta listen to one.
That's right. That's
I
right.
agree
Otherwise,
with
you get confused.
You do.
And you get too many rules.
You do. You're right.
So it's just nice.
So there's a question from Lynn. Do either of you eat vegan chocolate?
No.
No, I don't.
Why?
I don't think so. No.
No. See,
I
that's the difference between whole food, plant-based, and
Yes.
vegan.
now,
Because you can eat a lot of unhealthy food as a vegan.
yes,
Because I know that
French
when,
fries and
oh yes, and even going to vegan restaurants where they cook
Yes.
with oil and they cook with maybe too much salt or whatever. So there's a big difference.
Yeah.
And when I want to be bad, I can say, oh, well, it was a vegan meal.
Now, I am a chocoholic, or I was, and this is a tip. Dr. Greger has a healthy, if you go on his website, you get a healthy smoothie, and he uses regular cocoa, but I buy it from Amazon as defatted cocoa. Regular cocoa is 30% fat, and of course, fat is my nemesis. So I use defatted cocoa, and I use a banana and ice cubes, and I think that's about it. And so I do get my chocolate fix once in a while, but it's like a lot of things that you've given up, and I don't miss it that much. I mean, 5 years ago, and I said, oh, I love it. And I would get those probably once or twice a week, but now,
Yeah, see, I just don't want anything that reminds me of what I used to eat.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't bother me. I don't mind. Like I make ice cream. We have one of those ice cream makers, and I just take frozen bananas, put a little of that chocolate in it, and that's all. No other ingredients, just ice cream and defatted cocoa. Oh, it just tastes like I used to be. I was addicted to what do you call those things with a
Softies.
Softies, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a softie. Oh yeah.
Nice. Jay's asking, in what way was Dottie or is Dottie non-compliant? And you can answer for Ben too, Esther.
Okay.
Everybody has a different tolerance for fat in their diet, and she's not as strict about fat as I am. For instance, she'll make a salad, and McDougall and probably you will recommend 1 teaspoon or a quarter, an eighth of an avocado. She'll put half an avocado in it. And she doesn't worry about oil like I do. I mean, but she doesn't eat any animal products. And, but I won't order, or when I go to one of these, bring your, what do you call it? Bring your own potluck. If I don't know who made it, if AJ didn't make it or you make it, I won't eat it. They may have put some oil in, and they may have put something in it that's not good for me. And she's not anywhere near like that.
Yeah.
Was Dottie ever overweight? Because she's so petite now.
Well, let me say this. She weighed, not when I knew her, she weighed 100 pounds when I met her, 98 or 101. And so, no, not that I know of. No, unfortunately, I'm one of these visual people, and I'm not attracted to overweight people. Sorry, but I'm honest about it.
Yeah. Well, like Ben, I mean, he's no animal and no dairy, and we don't have any oil in the house.
Yeah.
But when we go out for a Mexican dinner, he'll eat a chimichanga, which is fried in oil.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
and Dottie will too.
Yeah, and he'll eat if he goes out.
Well, maybe you guys should switch couples.
Oh, no, thank you.
I didn't mean to help each other.
No offense, but no.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, because you guys are the same way. I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ben and Dottie have mentioned the fact that they're more like each other than they are like, I don't know.
Yeah. But then opposites attract too.
Yes, something like
Well,
that.
and the thing is, Ben exercises more than I do, and he is a man and he burns his calories differently. And he is not an extremist like I am.
Right.
And so he's
Same with Dottie.
he's softer about it. So he'll have bread, he'll eat saltine crackers, which I don't eat. So he eats more processed food, but still vegan, you know.
Yes.
So that's why
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
Both our spouses.
so they're vegan, but not necessarily unprocessed or whole food plant-based.
Yeah, neither one. Well, Dottie had a crisis late in life, but Ben didn't have the problem with the knees like you did.
No.
And the weight just melted off of him.
Yes, it
He
did.
never tried,
No.
and I didn't either. I mean, I think men just lose weight easier too.
Yeah, it is true. So the things that he has in the house, they don't tempt me.
He wants more savory food than you.
Well, he wants,
I'm like him. I want savory.
yeah.
I like plain, but I couldn't subsist on your diet. I mean, I would do well, but I mean, it would
You might
not be satisfied.
You might not be satisfied, as long as you had the mental idea that you needed more or needed a little more excitement or something. But, like even now, like for Thanksgiving, Ben did eat a piece of berry pie,
Yeah.
non-vegan.
Well, yeah, Dottie actually really cheated, and she had a small piece of turkey.
Oh,
She actually.
No.
Yeah, she did. But
Where'd you get it?
Oh, we had turkey for the whole family. There was 13 of us here. And I had the most beautiful dinner. I had, she made mashed sweet potatoes with nothing in them. And everybody loved them. I said, those are for me, don't eat. And she made up string beans just for me. She made up stuffing for everybody else, but she put in the turkey, but she made stuffing for me. And then she made up 2 gravies, one with turkey gravy, and then she made up gravy for me. And she ended up eating my gravy because she said it tasted better.
wow.
Yeah. So those were all starches, but those, except for the gravy, but and we had it for 4 days afterwards.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing Ben does. He makes gravy. It's kind of like Mary McDougal's gravy, just out of onions and
I don't know what she
garlic,
makes.
and I think he uses some better than bouillon and some cornstarch.
Yeah.
But see, I don't want the cornstarch in my life,
Oh, okay.
so I just But it feels good to do what I do, and I feel emotionally safe. Safe.
Well, yeah. As long as we're satiated, it doesn't matter how we get there.
Yeah.
I mean, people look at what I eat. People like you. I mean, when I was 18 years old, I went to visit my grandmother in Pennsylvania, and she says, well, I'll cook you I think I'd graduated from high school or something. I'll cook you anything you want. What would you like? I said, corn on the cob.
Oh,
And she
yeah,
said, okay, and what else? I said, that's it.
yeah.
And she went out and bought we had this huge thing of corn, and that's all I ate. And to this day, if you put corn on the cob, and I don't put butter on it, I don't put
Yeah.
salt, I just eat it plain, and I love it.
Yeah.
You know, and so it whatever floats our boat,
Yeah.
you know.
I think sometimes when Ben says he wants the food to taste good, what it probably means is more salt.
Could
Because he'll use like paste picante sauce and he'll use some ketchup
Yeah,
because he wants it to be a little bit more
yeah.
when he does it.
I had to give up salt because of my kidneys,
Yeah.
so I've never had a problem with that.
So like Chef AJ, what do you say about you never give up more than, don't go on a stricter diet than what?
No, I've always, and people say, oh, you're so strict, you're so perfect. I have always said, if people really listen to me, do the least restrictive diet that you can do that will
Yes.
get the results that you say
Exactly.
you want. Because I find that there's a huge mismatch between what people say they want and what they're willing to do. And so
Yes.
people say, oh, Chef AJ, I want to be skinny like you, but I want to have cheese and I want to have alcohol. Well, then it's not going to happen for you if this is your genetics. So just decide what your lowest sustainable weight is rather than your lowest attainable weight, and do the
Yes.
most restrictive diet you can do. So that's the thing. It's not anyway. There's a question if either of you eat tofu.
I eat it sometimes at restaurants, but I don't have it in the house because it's too high in fat. And but when I go to not Loving Hut, but Vegan Plate, sometimes I'll get a soup and they have tofu in it. So I'll eat it there, but I don't buy it and cook it at home.
I don't. I worry about the fat, but I just don't like the consistency of it. Now, I do eat it because Dottie will make a fantastic casserole of with marinara. So I can't think of the word.
Like lasagna?
Lasagna. And she, instead of the cheese they use on the lasagna, she makes it out of tofu. She gets the firm and lets the water drain out, and it tastes just, I know you don't like because it tastes, but it tastes just like the cheese.
No, I liked her lasagna.
Yeah, it is so good. But that's the only time I eat it. Vegan Hut, they all know that I hate. I just don't like it.
Mhm.
So I don't have any trouble not eating it.
But when I was losing my weight, I don't think I ate it because it was not allowed on the Mexican weight loss program.
It's not hard to give up for us. Yeah.
No.
Do you guys exercise every day?
Yes.
What do you do?
Well, Dottie and I walk the dog 1.5 miles in the morning, and then 3 or 4 times a week, except now in the rain and cold. But I go out and I have a tricycle. It's I used to bicycle, but after I'd ride for an hour or 45 minutes, I'd have to have the seat surgically removed from my butt. So I gave up on that, and I got a recumbent tricycle, and it's a e-bike. It has a motor and a battery on it, but you still you get out there for an hour and a half, and you go 20-30 miles, and so you get plenty of exercise. And then I live in a multi-story house, so I go up and down. I have to go down half a flight of stairs to my garage, and I try to be as active as I possibly can. I find that if I don't sleep as well, and I get depressed. Exercise is just a marvelous antidepressant. If you get depressed, go for a walk and you will get undepressed. Trust me, works every time.
Yeah.
So
I have done a lot of swimming, but exercise is 20% of the success, and the food is 80%.
Oh, I think it's more than that.
So you don't have to exercise. It's good for your mind. It's good for your body, but it's not the secret to weight loss.
No,
it's the food.
I don't even consider it. I do it for other reasons. I told you, sleeping and well-being, and I love to be outside. I would much prefer to be outside than sitting. I don't like watching TV. I don't like to be in front of my computer, but that's what I do.
Yeah.
Esther, do you have sleep apnea? Did you have sleep apnea?
Yes.
Is it better now?
Well, I don't use the machine anymore.
Then it's better.
Oh, it's gone. I mean, as far as it was taken off of my, at the doctor's office, you have your after office visit report, and everything that I had before is gone. Everything. I have a clean slate. So I just am so
At
excited.
72.
Yeah, and even at 79 now.
Oh, I know, but I mean,
Yeah.
you started.
Oh, right. I didn't start till then. That's true. Yeah, it's all gone. It's wonderful. And I used to take sleeping pills. I don't sleep a lot. I'm kind of a weird person that way, but Dr. McDougall says as we get older, we only need 5 hours a night. And so I take him at his word.
Yeah. Well, you will know if you don't get.
I know. I figure if I'm sleepy, I'll fall asleep in the car, or I'll fall asleep
Yeah.
watching TV or something. But
Yeah.
and I love my meditation during the night.
Yeah.
It's not that I get up and start working around the house and use up a lot of energy, but it's my quiet time. It's the time I listen. It's the time I come up with my word for the day. And it's the time I often then post my word in the middle of the night. So people will see the different times of the night that I do it. But I'm just happy. I feel like my body knows what it needs and wants, and I don't worry about it. I think people worry too much about, are they getting enough of this and enough of that?
I think you have to get in touch with your own body. You
Yes.
have to listen to it.
And your own mind. And
That too.
and we're so busy, and there's so many distractions in life that we don't have
Yeah.
time to listen to that inner voice.
That's why I cherish you as a friend. You remind me of that a lot.
Yeah, it's important, because everything has to come from within. We can have all these people telling us what to do, but we have to own it ourselves and want that for our lives,
Yes.
and want to protect what we have and who we are, and know that we all have value just as we are.
Yes.
No hoops that we have to jump through. We are good enough just as we are. And we
Well,
have,
self-love is important.
and it's not an egotistical self-love. It's a happiness of
Self-acceptance.
knowing that you don't have to be perfect to
Yeah.
arrive. In fact, none of us are perfect, but I wrote this morning, it was kind of cute, about how is Dr. McDougall perfect? I says, I guess I'm not the judge of that, but boy, has he shown me the way, and I'm so thankful to him.
Yeah.
And
No, I
I'm
agree.
thankful for all the people out there that are showing us different facets of how to live this way. So we all have our little ministry, as I say.
Yes.
Wow. Hey, where can people get your book, Esther? From donuts to potatoes.
Oh, yeah. It's on Amazon, and it's also Balboa Press. And I think they've reduced the price on the soft cover from $27 to $20. And so that's the easiest way to do it. But I don't think it's in bookstores. You had to put it in within the first year for the bookstore to have the right of return the items. But that's a good way.
I'll get a link and I'll add that to the show notes.
Yeah.
And so, guys, if people want to connect with you, what's the best way?
Well, I've already told everybody, email me here, go to my website. There's a lot of resources on there. There's a lot of videos for those that don't like to read, and send me an email and I will respond. I send out recipes to people. Oh, that's what I got so many. I had a leek pie was my recipe. And I said, say that people, I still get, that was, I don't know, a year ago or so. So I'm easy to get a hold of. You're on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook under Esther's Nutritional Journey. And on there, I post my phone number and I post my email address. And then on YouTube, if you type in my full name, it's on there 2 different ways. One's Esther Loveridge and one's Esther Liebeck Loveridge. But there's lots of videos out there. But if you're in my group and you ask a question, I try to respond to every single. And sometimes people will send me a message, a messenger, on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty accessible. I mean, once in a while I'll say, okay, I've done enough, 3 or 4 hours in the morning, and I'll be off. And I don't know how well I'll be able to stay in touch on the cruise, but I'll do my best.
And if they want to see you guys in person, they can come to our conference in Sacramento.
Yes.
Dr. Lyle, Dr. Goldhammer, Dr. Olvera, Dr. Nedley, and Tammy and Tom Kramer and Linda Middlesworth. on the 15th of January. Tickets are early bird pricing for about another week, so they can come meet you in person.
Oh,
Yes.
sure.
Well, yeah, I don't know who would want to, but
But we're willing to be there.
we will be there.
Yeah.
You know, basically, it's the reason that I feel that, and I think you do too. It's why we're here.
Yeah, it's exciting. And we just get back from our cruise like midnight the day before.
Oh, I know.
So we'll be there bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
You can talk about how you were able to be successful on a cruise. Al, do you think you'll ever write a book?
No, I was married to a writer, and I have bad feelings about that. No, I don't. Everybody asked me that. I mentioned that to my daughter, and I thought she was gonna die laughing.
If you did write a book, what would you title it?
Oh, come on. I did it my way.
Nice. Now, Esther, might you write another book?
Yes, I've wondered if I should do sequels, by collecting all of the words that I posted on subsequent years.
Why not?
And then what I've done too is, because that book is inspirational and it does have my daily postings, from 2019 collected in that book. What I would do on a second book is I would also include my Instant Pot cooking times, something more practical tools. And I also have written a thing called Beginner's Manual, and that is in my Facebook. But if somebody wants to send me an email, I can send them the link to that, because the Beginner's Manual tells about how I got started and how I followed Chef AJ and Dr. Lim and Dr. Doug Lyle and Dr. McDougall and even Jeff Novick and so forth.
Yeah, Jeff.
It's a real good. I just got inspired one day and I sat down at the computer and wrote this up, and so I think it's a good adjunct to my book. So I don't know if people want, in fact, I didn't want to write the book in the first place. And people said, "Oh, you need to write a book." And I said, "Well, why should I write a book when I give you these words every day on Facebook and they're free?" And people said, "Well, no, we'd like to have it." So that was the impetus to writing the book. And subsequent books, I just don't know if I would do every day or do certain ones. I don't know, but I certainly would want to have more how to do the program information. And that's what the Beginner's Manual does.
I think that would be a great idea for a book, or maybe you and Al could write one together.
Yeah.
Oh, now I could do something like that, as long as we got a really good ghostwriter.
What do you mean?
Because at least for me.
Oh, I'd be your ghostwriter.
Okay.
It's not so much about technique. And I guess that's one thing I liked about writing the book, is to let people know that everyday people can write a book. It can happen.
Wow. Okay.
And it doesn't have to be perfect. I did not have my book edited, and there's a couple of mistakes in there that I've seen, but you know what? That's just the way it is.
Well, you taught me a lot about mistakes. So yeah, you're right.
Doesn't have to be perfect. Just be real.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are fun. You guys are great. It's such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be on your show, AJ.
Yes, it is.
Al, do you know the song from Saturday Night Live Fever, "Staying Alive"?
Yes.
Yeah, you should have that, as an intro, if you can, to your YouTube videos.
Oh, I think there might be some copyright problems with that. But everybody, when I first had this, I had this little graphic on my business cards, and people said, "Oh, you're a dancer." I thought, no, so I put a trike on my business cards.
Oh, yeah.
So I pass out cards left and right. I influence a lot of people that way.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I do too. It's really fun just to
Oh yeah, you have pretty cards. Here's
just to pass it out. Yeah, people can't believe the before and after pictures, but
I know, I wish we had thought to get the Women's World, because I have it, but I can't leave the broadcast to go get it. It's in my closet. You guys should maybe think about doing a YouTube channel or a regular show together.
I have thought about that. That's more my medium. I'm more.
You're a talker. You're a talker.
Well, not more BSer maybe, but no, I like to respond to people, or to respond to the events as they happen.
in the flow.
In the flow, yes, yes. Well, and then also I'm not that organized, so it just comes off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And I like to use humor, and that's hard to do in a book. You know, my humor doesn't come through as well in a book, so. But you're right, I'm more of a talker. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you guys really are an inspiration. And, like you say, everything in the perfect timing, because if you had done this earlier, you might not be able to inspire the people you're inspiring now, showing them really that it's really never too late unless you don't start now.
That's right. And we would not have had the pain that we've had to overcome.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step.
That's right.
And that you have to take that first step. It'll never happen otherwise. So just decide. And that's one of my theories. My favorite one is you don't try it. You don't wonder about it. You just do it. You just make a decision. Every success I've had in my life, I've just said, I'm going to. And then would you say Henry Ford? You can decide to do it, and you decide to fail.
Either you can or you can't.
Can't. In both cases, you'll be right, and that's so true about us.
And I like to throw out, when we get married, we don't say I'll try.
That's a good one.
We say I do.
Do. Yeah. You're married all the time, not just during the week.
Right.
Well, that's her. I don't want to take credit for that.
Yeah, that's true. You have to decide, but it takes a while to get to that point where
that's a decision.
Then you make that decision and then trust yourself to follow through, because we often say we're going to do something and then something happens and we don't follow through. But whatever steps a person can take, maybe you just say, what meat could you give up forever? Maybe just choose that.
There's no willpower involved.
No.
It's just a decision.
Right.
Yeah. And if you wanted to, it's the jumping in the pool versus going in slowly. I'm the jumper. Just one terrible shot.
It's over with.
And then it's over with.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you got to work at your ankles and bring it on all up. I don't like to do that.
And the other thing I like to tell my people is there's no guilt, only learning.
Yeah.
So don't beat yourself up at all for anything you've ever done, because you're responding to some way of numbing some bad feelings you've had. And, there's all these psychological reasons why we do what we do. But the point is, just love yourself, love your family, just love everyone in spite of our differences, and just be kind. Just be kind. That's what we need to do.
I think you have a second calling as a minister.
Oh, she does. She's my own personal minister.
You're so lucky. Well, I'm so lucky to call you my friends, and I'm so happy that we live near each other and we can see each other regularly.
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh, thank you. We're so blessed too.
You have brought a lot into my life, AJ.
Yeah.
We should, what we should do? I just found out I'm using a technology called Restream, which enables me to stream in real time to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, even though this is really a YouTube show. And they just announced that you can actually do it from your phone now. And maybe we can stream one of our get-togethers, and then people can really see us all together.
It's fun.
Yeah. So let's think about doing that. It's so hard to say goodbye, but I do have to teach my class. So thank you guys so much for what you do for people and for your inspiration. And also I do love both your spouses, and tell them the same thing. They're gentle, bad, and I like Dottie. Dottie's got a little feistiness in her, because if she didn't, you gotta be married to Al,
That's right.
And if they ever want to come on together, I think that would be a fabulous show.
I'd love to have her come on. I would encourage her, but that's not her, and so that's all right.
Yeah.
Well, either way, it would be fun to hear their perspectives if they ever feel like it. I understand.
Tammy interviewed Ben and I, and he did really well. It's one of my favorites because we knew Tammy and Tom. And so it was comfortable for him.
Yeah.
Well, I could see Ben as more of a quiet guy, but Dottie is so social. She seems like she would be great, but I guess she just doesn't want to do it.
It's not.
She's camera shy.
She's so pretty, though. People need to see how pretty she is.
Can you hear all this, Dottie? She's sitting over here.
She's so pretty. I just think
she's beautiful.
I know she really is. And maybe she'll make a recipe. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. And I think I'll see you maybe in a week if we end up going to Zest Cafe for our husband's birthdays are like 2 days apart.
Yes.
And then Al's is coming up soon, 88 and feeling great.
Yeah.
88, looking great and feeling great. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. We're starting a little bit earlier tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. I hope you'll come back because we have a very special doctor who's done a lot of research to do the presentation on what to do if you get cancer. His name is Dr. Peter Rogers. So please remember that we're starting at 10:15 a.m. tomorrow. Take care.